Welcome to another episode of The Boss Experience, the podcast that helps coaches and other entrepreneurs build an offer that sells itself with AI and automation. My name is Michelle Davis, and I'm your host. Today, I'm discussing a topic that has a lot of coaches either curious about, excited about, or freaking out about it. And that topic is how AI is changing the coaching industry. And I thought this was a great topic to cover in the podcast simply because I'm hearing from a lot of coaches that are panicking right now because they don't know how AI is going to impact their business, the marketing strategies they once used, that worked really well to get clients isn't exactly working anymore. And they're not seeing the same number of leads that they used to see coming into their business on a regular basis. And we all know the less leads you have, the less opportunities you have to take someone from just learning about you to becoming a coaching client. So if you're feeling that way and that's something you're experiencing, this episode is definitely for you. The first thing you need to know is AI has definitely changed how we sell, how we serve, and how we show up for our clients. Case in point, I've personally paid, for a health coach, and I can't really say I got anything from the experience. I paid thousands of dollars and they gave me their app and, I would put things in the app or input, things in the app. And at the end of the day, I wasn't any better off than before I hired them. Maybe I gained a few nuggets here, there, but at the end of the day, that type of program, or the program itself, didn't do anything for me. So we're in a different era now where a lot of those programs that people were kind of throwing up and throwing out there and collecting money and not really delivering results, people have gotten burned to the point where, they're turning to AI to solve those problems that they once would pay someone to help them solve. And any coach that really doesn't have a signature program that delivers a high value outcome is going to find themselves scrambling because you're now in a position that you have to be able to deliver a solution through your coaching business that people can't find in AI. And let me just share a little bit about what I mean. Let me give you an example. There's many types of coaching niches that once were thriving. People would not hesitate to pour thousands of dollars into those type of services to work with someone, and they've now become either obsolete or they've been devalued. Those types of services have been devalued because now with people using AI more and more to do the same services they once paid people thousands of dollars to do, those types of services just simply aren't needed anymore. So, like, for example, if you're a new business owner, you're not really needing to hire a branding coach because you could probably go to Chat GPT and map out your brand in a matter of minutes or an hour, as opposed to hiring someone to work with you and to do that with you. And AI can even come up with logo concepts, for you and help you build out your branding board as well. In people's minds, they don't need to hire someone specifically for that unless you're a big name and you're a big brand and you're rebranding and you want to bring someone on, to help you do that. There may be still a niche for that. But the average, individual, small business owner, entrepreneur, they're turning to AI to do those small things. If you're were once a copywriting coach, one could argue, AI can't write copy for you. And then you have a lot of people that are using AI to write entire email sequences and map out all of their copywriting needs, including sales pages, and even getting layouts of what the pages are. And you used to once have to hire someone to help you map out a 7-day email sequence or a 5-day email sequence to sell your product or service. Or you used to have to hire someone to create the sales page for you because a lot of people couldn't figure out the tech. But when you have AI actually doing the layout for you, a lot of people feel like, and I'm not saying, whether they should be trusting AI or whether they shouldn't, because we know AI, can make mistakes, but you have a lot of people turning to AI to now do those services for them. If you're a business coach, people, used to look to business coaches or service providers to map out their business plan or, create their launch strategy. Those services aren't really needed anymore when you have like ChatGPT and there's a new AI tool coming out every time you turn around, right? Every time you blink your eyes that are helping you do more and more as it relates to business. And what's interesting is, despite all of the technological advances, there's a lot of coaches that haven't invested time and they haven't invested money into learning those same AI tools that their clients are using. So they don't even know that they need to pivot. Here's the thing. Your competitors are using AI. And so if you're not using AI tools to market your business, to serve your clients, and some coaches and entrepreneurs are even creating their own tools to service clients. And if you're not familiar with AI yet, or you aren't using the same AI tools to serve your clients or to market to your clients, you can't even compete, right? You can't even compete if you're still doing everything manually, or you don't have a real transformation that you're offering to your clients beyond what AI can provide. So let's talk about the second thing you need to know when it comes to the future of coaching. You can't expect to be successful if you haven't established a foundation for success. I started coaching in 2020 after having a successful website design and branding company. I had a lead magnet that I used to attract clients. Before AI, I could only automate the lead magnet delivery and the nurture sequence or the follow-up emails that would come after I delivered the lead magnet. If you don't know what a lead magnet is, or you've never used a lead magnet as a marketing tool in your business, it's simply an item. It could be a PDF, it can be a video. It's a digital item, something they can quickly get access to. So I used a lead magnet to attract coaching clients. And how it would work is I would advertise and promote, whatever it is, whatever the lead magnet is that I was promoting, whether it was the PDF, the video, whatever. The person would find my landing page, and they would enter their first name, email address, and their phone number to get access to this free resource. Once they entered their information, my system was triggered to then deliver the lead magnet to the email address they provided. And, I'm not going to get into the whole details of what a sales funnel is, but the point I'm trying to make is that once they opted in, they, exchanged their contact details for whatever it is that I was offering, they got a 5-day or a 7-day email sequence that went out, on a schedule, right? And that was the extent of automation when I started. In this old model, that meant, because this was email. In this old model, that meant waiting for someone to check their inbox, check their email, which could be days, weeks, months, or never, because you could land in spam or they could just not be someone that checks their inbox. No matter how bad they wanted that lead magnet or that freebie that you were offering, doesn't mean that they were actually going to take action, right? So you had to essentially wait for them to retrieve your lead magnet so they can engage with you and go to the next step in your process, whatever that was, whether it was, for them to book a call or to do something else, whatever it is whatever your call to action was. That was the only automation we had, but we lost money for every person that never, ever, ever reached out to us. We lost time for every person that never, went to their inbox and or, ended up forgetting that we existed or that they downloaded something, from us, right? We lost money because if no one saw our thing, our freebie, our lead magnet, they're not going to get to the next step in our process. Now, with AI automation, you can now engage with people instantly, right? By text, chatbot, DM, even AI voice receptionists. So you're able to meet your ideal client where they are. If they're at 2 a.m., seeing your content, you can actually engage with them in real time at 2 a.m. when you're sleeping, or 8 a.m. when you're probably taking the kids to school. You don't need to personally engage with people in real time with AI. And the best part about using AI powered tools is you can transition them into the next step in your process. Before, that was all kind of manual, and our automation was very, very limited when we think about what we have now versus that old way of marketing. And you don't even have to write your email sequence, and now we have text message sequences or SMS text messaging, text message marketing. You don't have to write any of that stuff anymore. You don't even have to write a proposal because AI can do all of those things for you. And these are all the things that coaches and other service providers did manually, and it left them exhausted. It sucked up their time because, you're doing these proposals, you're, trying to, write the perfect email sequence or write the perfect text message sequence. And now and sometimes you spent weeks, working on, your sales page and all of these different elements of your marketing and sales process. And now that can be done in minutes thanks to AI. And that time that people knew they needed to spend is why you have a lot of a lot of coaches, a lot of service providers that never followed up with their clients, right? Because they were so overwhelmed and busy doing the manual work, and they, had to follow up manually with people, and they didn't follow up. Now with AI, you can follow up with people in a way that helps your business grow instead of relying on only on when you're available to send the message or to reach out to people. You just have to be willing to map out your client acquisition system, invest in the right software, set up the software because it does nothing to invest in the software if you never set it up to work for you. And then once you set it up, it's good to go. And the reason I say you got to map out your system is because you have to know what your process is so you can power it with AI effectively. Because a lot of people, are hearing about AI, but they don't really know how to really incorporate it into their business. So you definitely have to map out your system so you get the right software tools to properly automate your process and your system. And I love seeing that aha moment with my clients when I work with them and I help them map out their client acquisition process, and they see all of the activities that they need to or should be engaging in if they want to, grow their business at minimum to the level of six figures. And they see the process, right? And a lot of times they haven't ever mapped out their process to really, or mapped out a process, period, to see what it takes to get someone from just learning about them to actually enrolling and paying them to be their coach. They see the power of AI and they see how literally you can close a client depending on what you're selling, or you can fill up your webinar, or you can fill up your challenge, or you could do so much without having to do things manually anymore. And it just makes their life so much easier. And like I said before, your competitors are using the AI tools. So every minute that you're trying to, follow up with people and there's a delay in your follow up and you're not engaging with people in real time, they've already taken their attention away from you and they're looking at your competitors because they are investing in the tools and they are using the tools to engage with people interested in their services in real time. Because if you're still, manually sending out your follow-ups, manually sending a lead magnet, someone opts in at 10 a.m. and you're sending the lead magnet at 6 p.m. or answering your DMs, 12 hours later or days later, you're just leaving money on the table because they're paying attention to your competitors while you're still trying to do everything manually. And my business has personally changed with AI too. Like I said before, things that took me days and so much time to create, I can do it with AI in minutes. I don't have to chase leads. Once people reach out to me, my AI takes over. People can call me and I have an AI voice receptionist that answers the call. And this isn't about cutting corners because a lot of people are thinking, well, if you use AI, you're not being authentic. If you use AI, just stop. The way businesses operate are evolving, and you're either going to get on board and evolve with it or you're going to get left behind. You can add your own voice into AI, but you have to know how to do it. And that's where that time investment comes in or that financial investment so that you can learn the tools and you can use them effectively in your business. The third thing you need to know about how AI is changing the future of coaching is AI won't replace you unless you let it. Here's the big thing that most coaches miss and other service-oriented entrepreneurs miss is AI is a tool. It's not a transformation. I'm going to repeat that. AI is a tool. It's not a transformation. It can write your content, it can answer questions, but it can't replace your experience. It can't replace your expertise, your energy, or your ability to guide someone to a transformation. But, and this is big, this is huge, and this is the part that people aren't understanding. But if your offer is only delivering surface level information, you will be replaced. Your service will be obsolete and it won't hold any value anymore in the marketplace. People are no longer buying vague access to information. They want results, they want frameworks, they want systems. That's why I coach people to build offers that are designed to solve big problems. That way, their offer is something unique to their expertise, and it's not something that they can find any and everywhere, including on Google, including on YouTube, including on ChatGPT for literally either free or at a low cost. You have to make yourself irreplaceable in the marketplace. Signature programs and real transformations make you competitive in the marketplace. So if you're just offering these weekly coaching calls and they're not really delivering any real results for people and there's no real connection with people or support for your clients, I'm sorry to tell you, you're in the race to the bottom. You're in the race to the bottom. You must have a transformational journey, aka an irresistible offer that far exceeds anything they can get using AI. That's if you want to stay in business. So if you're listening to this and you're wondering, okay, I heard the things I need to know about the future of coaching. What do I do next, Michelle? Here's what I suggest. Audit your offer. Are you really solving a deep issue? Are you really providing a real transformation? Or are you just offering surface level support? Then map out your system so you know how to leverage AI to enhance your delivery, to enhance your processes. You have to know, what is the journey a client takes from, just seeing a post or just seeing your ad. What is the journey to get them to become a client? And it isn't just, they see you and they're going to pay you 5 grand for your coaching service. That's typically not how it works. You have to take them through a process and you have to know what that process is so you know exactly what you're powering with AI and everything can be integrated and work together. Don't ignore what's coming. So things like voice AI and, conversational AI and chatbots, they're becoming a standard thing in business now. And the quality is good because people don't even realize that they're talking to AI and they're not talking to a human. AI is evolving and it's becoming more and more advanced at a very rapid rate. You're probably thinking, if I'm a coach, why do I need a voice AI receptionist? And let me tell you, you might think you don't need an AI voice receptionist, but your clients are going to expect it because your competitors are going to have a way for people to reach out to them now. And if you don't have it, they're going to bypass you and go to one of your competitors. The more AI becomes a standard in business and the more people are using it in their business, the more the expectation or the higher the expectation is for you to rise to that level. So you can either choose to stay where you are and do everything manually, or you can choose to be competitive in the marketplace. With AI, you can attract your ideal client 24/7 and take them through a process from just learning about you to actually going to the next step with you, whether it's signing up for a webinar, whether it's booking a call with you, booking a service, and you can do it 24/7. You just got to set it up once and it just works for you. It just works for you until you shut it off. So, bottom line is AI won't replace coaches that adapt. AI is going to replace the coaches that resist. And AI can provide structure, it can take over different processes in your business, but it can't deliver the transformation that you can. So, if you incorporate it into your business in a way that enhances your client's experience and gets them to you faster, because remember, you're the coach, you're the expert. AI can only do so much, and it's there to streamline your processes. It's there to make your life easier, but it can't replace you as a coach. So my question to you is, are you ready to evolve your business? Or are you clinging to the old way of marketing and the old way of coaching because it's comfortable or because you've convinced yourself that it's still working? Even though you have less people engaging with your content, you have less people engaging with your offers, and less people enrolling in your programs. And if you found this episode helpful, leave a review right here on the platform where you're watching it or where you're listening to the audio, or you can even DM me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram as Michelle Davis NYC, and that's Michelle with one L. And I just want to hear from you about how you're using AI in your business. I want to know if, are you a coach? Are you doing, SaaS, which is software as a service? Like, what are you doing? What kind of service provider are you? And whether you're using AI in your business, reach out to me on, send me a message via Facebook, Instagram, wherever you're at on social media. I'd love to hear from you. I'm even on LinkedIn, Michelle Davis, NYC, and that's Michelle with one L. And the last thing I want to leave you with, if you take nothing else from this episode, right, is AI doesn't replace people. It replaces the processes. If the outcome you deliver as a coach is strong, it's solid, aka your transformation, and you have an effective client acquisition system in place, AI will just amplify what you're already doing. So I just want to leave you with that. And with that being said, that's a wrap for this episode. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I can't wait for you to tune in to the next episode of the Boss Experience podcast. See you next time.